Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In this time, I want to explain about my paper that title is Explicit Scientific Argument on Science Teaching as an Inquiry, Designing Activity on Online Schema Using Fuzzy Delphi Method. My name is Iswanto. I come from Natural Science Education Department, Universitas Tidar Magelang, Indonesia. Okay. Uh, one of the obstacles faced in online science learning is making the science learning process able to maintain the nature of science, like science as a process and a product, and to facilitating higher order thinking skills to students. In science learning, higher order thinking skills or HOTS can be built through a process of inquiry. In order to inquiry activities, argumentation activities are also important in the science learning process. Therefore, this research was conducted to develop a science learning process that was packaged online using phases of inquiry which involve arguing or argumentation activity. On this research, we use Fuzzy Delphi method for designing the activity of learning. This method is effectively used to make decisions on the feasibility of a learning stage. In this study, the 10 experts involved included researchers in the field of science learning design, as well as educators in the fields of science with at least 10 years of teaching experience. The experts evaluated the stage of learning design with a questionnaire guide. This questionnaire consists of 7 question items which combine the Likert scale with fuzzy numbers. Okay, the method based on the fuzzy Delphi method, learning stages are a range of 3 online sessions, where each session is carried out in one online learning meeting. In the first and second session, there are 3 activities. There are 3 learning activities, and while in the third session, there is 1 learning activity. This is the step that we carried out to analyzing the data. One is determining the linguistic scale. We can see in table 1 after this slide. And the linguistic scale use a Likert scale by adding 3 fuzzy numbers M1, M2, and M3 with a scale of 0 to 1. And the second is calculating the average score of fuzzy number. And the three, then the third, calculating the threshold value using equation 1 so that the level of agreement between experts is known. If the value less than 0.2 and the percentage large than 75%, it can be said that the experts are in the same agreement. Then it can be stated that the structure of the planned learning stage is acceptable and the rest is unacceptable. The fourth, perform ranking at the design learning stage. Ranking need to be done to consider the priority of the stage that must be carried out. The ranking is based on the diffusification process value using equation 2. We can look at the equation 1 and equation 2. To equation 1 is to calculating the uh, threshold value, and equation 2 for calculating the diffusification process. And it's the scale of linguistic. There are 5 scale of linguistic: strongly not agree, moderately agree, agree, and strongly agree. And we combine with 3 fuzzy number. You can see at the table there are 3 fuzzy number and in every scale linguistic. The score of fuzzy number is uh, ranked on 0 to 1. And based on the research, the results show that the inquiry learning stage has been designed by inserting an online argumentation activity. Learning is carried out in 3 sessions, where each session is carried out in 1 lesson. In session 1, there were 3 stages of learning. There are the identifying problems, conducting literature studies, formulating hypotheses by proposing scientific arguments. In the second session, there were three stages of learning, namely proving the truth of the proposed hypothesis, or collecting data, analyzing data, and evaluating the proposed hypothesis accompanied by scientific arguments. And the third session of the last session, there is one learning stage, namely communicating the results of the investigation. And then, in general, all experts agree that the setup stage of learning can improve learning outcome in the higher order thinking dimension. It's based on the expert opinion. This is the table of the result of questionnaire analysis that have filled by expert. This is the fuzzy number, uh, and and this column, there are a score of average fuzzy number, and this is the diversification process, the threshold value that uh, less than 0.2, and then so all of the stage are accepted, and this is the rank. It's mean that uh, the priority of the stage that must be done in the learning activity. Okay, thank you very much for the attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.